Hey, Dom.
Hiya. Somewhere new. You're inside.
Yes, yeah. Our son's gone overseas, so we've got the use of the downstairs flat at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Let me just close a couple of windows with you. Just rushing a bit to get in. So yeah, thanks for the other day. That was very helpful.
Oh, good, good.
Um,
I hope it
yeah.
was.
Um, yeah. Um, yeah. Um, that thing about guilt and shame. I sort of think I started to get a sense of it being like guilt, the idea that guilt is messier and shame is sort of um, simpler or more kind of resolved or something. That's why, like when you take it on as an identity, it sort of tidies it up somehow, or kind of
Mm.
like resolves it in some way, even if it's negative. I think that's something about it anyway, something like that.
Yeah. It occurs to me that guilt implies some kind of choice, and shame
Right. Yes.
doesn't. Yeah,
So yes. Okay. So guilt is like I could have done something different, but I made a mistake. Whereas shame is like I'm a
that
bad
is. I
person.
am.
There's nothing
Yeah.
and nothing I can do about it.
Mm.
It's just who I am or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. You're helpless with that one. Yeah. Uh, It's not to say that that's the way it is. It's just,
No.
you know, a possibility and something worth exploring.
Mm. Because I've never really been that sort of clear on the difference between guilt and shame. It's sort of obviously it's talked about, and I
Mm.
was Yeah, I was just interested because I'd heard you say a couple of times that shift that comes with the guilt going to the shame, and the shame being kind of easier to deal with, even if it's painful.
Mm. Well, it's certainly not pleasant, is it, in any way? But yeah, it's like, well, we can't help that. That's
Yeah.
part of who we are. Yeah. But regardless, I mean, we really don't need to separate the two. It's valuable to consider that in both cases, it's not how we started out. It's something we learned.
Mm,
And the implication is if we learned it, we can unlearn it or we can learn something better,
yeah.
but not by doing something. That's that's where the trick comes in, you know. It's like okay, put all the effort into it you like. It's not going to do anything positive. Very likely it might, but you never know. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, we're all looking for a kind of formula or something.
Mm. But we need to move to a place where we recognize that it was only possible for us to learn that stuff because we were naive, because we had a narrow perspective as a young person, and that if we were to look at it from the perspective of an adult, we'd go, why? We didn't need to take that on. But
Mm,
we did because we didn't know any better.
yeah. I mean, I believe that it's a bit it's abstract because obviously I can't
Yes.
feel that. You know what I mean? It's like it makes sense.
Mm. So if we were helpless to get it and we're helpless to remove it, why are we talking about it? There's a transition we need to make that says something along the lines that if we recognize that it exists and we don't try and fight it, it can change.
Mm.
And
Oh,
it's not
sorry, I have to just interrupt for a sec. Someone.
okay, you go. Yeah. Hmm.
Hey,
How are you, Kate?
I'm good. How are you?
It's like I haven't seen you forever and ever.
I know. Well, I'll show you. I'll take you outside. So I'll show you what I've been doing. Ha! So this is my deck. That's the view that I look at in the morning. There's a hawk flight. There's one of my hawks up there. I don't know if you can see her. And then all these plants, that's what I've been focused on,
Yeah,
is
good. Yeah.
growing my garden. Yeah. And trying to keep my back from killing me. But I love that I stepped in and talking about guilt, shame and blame and all that nonsense. And you know, the biggest gift that I was given was when I was hanging out with my 3-year-old adopted nephew. And at the age of 3, he was not able, he wasn't he didn't have the cognitive ability to ask why about anything, right? It was
Mm,
just, what's that? What's that? What's that? And whatever we told him, that was it. It was, this is a blue, this is green, this is a bathroom, this is a couch, this is a truck, this is a car, whatever it was. And it's only now, like they sent me a video of him, he'll be 4 this week. And they sent me a video of him, and they were at some water park where there's this tunnel and there's fish and sharks all around you. And he's like, we were just talking about this. So now he has past and present and future. And that's been in a little over a year that he's got that.
mm,
So Kwai is beginning to like sort of, there's this ability to say, but that didn't wasn't like that yesterday, but now it is like that. What, now he can say what. And I was like, of course I can't do anything about that guilt and shame because it was told to me just like that's blue.
mm.
So just it was like, yeah, of course I couldn't differentiate what was good and what was bad and why I was bad and how I'm supposed to fix
Yeah.
it and all that shit. It's like,
They go through a stage too where they go, why? Why?
yeah,
Why
yeah.
everything?
And then it's like that's all they ask.
Yeah, but the way the response they get is
It's
often a big part of,
because I said so.
yeah, that's right. That's exactly the kind
Because
of
I
answer that
said
they get.
so.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
never get an answer to why, but
No.
they never get told to enjoy the why without an answer.
Exactly. And and then there's this because, and then every story comes with I am blah 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 because blah 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 happened. There's not just it's a beautiful day. Well, why is it? Oh, because the sun is out.
Mm,
Well, does that mean every cloudy day is not beautiful? I mean, it's just, yeah, it's fascinating how just with the language, we just
Yeah,
tweak these concepts. And then that's where we find ourselves just so stuck in, 3 or 4 words.
yeah, yeah.
It can ruin a fucking lifetime.
Yeah, I did a story and investigation and song today, just today. I just finished it an hour ago about the value of reframing language
Yeah.
into objective way of speaking. Thoughts happened. That thought turned
Yeah.
up, not I had
Yes,
it,
yes,
not it was
yes,
me.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. Oh,
yeah,
thinking's going on. There's some thinking.
yeah.
Thinking's happening. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I ran into a deaf blind woman yesterday and her caregiver. And they were like, the deaf blind woman was like, very disoriented, and the caregiver's looking on her phone. And so because I signed, I, said hello, and I signed to the caregiver, not knowing the woman was blind, and then realized, oh, this woman is blind. So then I took her hand and, told her my name, and they needed to go someplace that was far away. So I gave them directions. But that's a whole nother world, because talk about
Mm,
limitation in language and just, yeah, yeah, fascinating, fascinating. Anyway, yeah.
mm.
Hi, Dom. Nice to see you again. We were just
Yeah,
talking about
you too.
the joys of guilt and shame.
Oh yeah, lovely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The gift of the gods, our parents, or whoever raises us. I mean, whoever tells us that we're shit when we're 2 and 3, and we don't have why in our ability. We don't have the capacity to ask why at that age, so we just swallow it. It just becomes automatic truth, and then only way to get out of it is to just go, oh, I couldn't say why then. Now I can say why. And there's no explanation for it. Just like there's no explanation why we call up there blue. It's just the name. Okay. Fascinating though. Like how
Mm.
that, few words at the proper age. I was telling Vince about my grandnephew who, when I was last with him, he was a little about it was last fall, so he was 3 and a little bit. And he didn't have the ability to ask why yet, but he wanted to know what everything was. And if he felt this way, it meant he was sick. And that's a strawberry, and that's a truck, and that's a car, and that's a big truck, and that's a cement truck, and that's a garbage truck, and all the stuff, right? But he's now turning 4, and they sent me a video of him, and he was able to say, they went to a place, and he was able to say, we were just talking about this place. So now he's got past and present
Mm,
and future, but why still hasn't showed up yet. And he's going to be 4 this week, and he's still not at that place where why. And so everything he's learned up until this morning, he's probably having breakfast right now, is still the absolute truth. It's coming from right out of God's mouth, mom and dad. And they're good parents, but they've got their own stuff. So it's just that he's inheriting it, just like he did his cute little face and his brown eyes. It's amazing. Amazing. What do we only I mean, that was the best realization I had for that was the best for me, because I grew up knowing I was bad. I didn't know why. I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't know what to do to be unbad. But that was my deepest, smallest, most hidden belief, was that I was bad. And I caused people to do terrible things because they blame me. And
I would say most people have a version of that. Now, it may not be bad, it may be broken
worthless. Yeah.
or
Not good enough.
not right. Yeah, something, to some
What's wrong
degree.
with you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why can't you just, you know? sit
Yeah.
still, whatever. Yeah.
So the value for us here is to see how impossible it is for that stuff not to happen.
Yep. Yeah. 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 And to be nice to myself,
Mm.
even when I was thinking I was bad. That took some practice.
Yeah.
I play that song of yours, Okay with the Ache, a lot. That is one of my top 10. I mean, you're with me every day because I've always got my phone and I'm always listening to music. But yeah, my back was killing me yesterday, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play this song on repeat for a little while. And then I was crying, and then my back didn't hurt so bad. Did a few exercises. That's all right now. It's okay today. Yeah. Yeah.
So it occurs to me that the transition back to something more wholesome that we want. So if we recognize that, well, there is this negative shit, this shame or whatever it is, we are carrying that. If we recognize that we are carrying it in whatever form, we don't have to define it, that we're looking for a way to get rid of it, a way to have something different happen. But we know that if we put effort into it, that's not going to work. We just know that. We know it from experience. We know it from other people. We know it.
And therapists.
Yeah. So how do we transition out of it? Well, we know we want to get rid of it. We know we don't want to be responding to that at whatever level, however much that's where in fact the suffering comes from. So we know that what will allow it to change is when we don't fight it, when we acknowledge it and don't fight it. But how do we do that without fighting it?
Yeah.
How is it possible to accept? Now, the tricky part is that the not wanting it there can get very big, very prominent. And we've kind of got to be okay with that and allow that to change because we're okay with it.
Yeah.
It's really counterintuitive all the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can tell ourselves to accept it. We can tell ourselves to be okay with it. But that's just another story that we've got. And so it's recognizing what is actually there is the key, is the way into, let's hope that we have something like acceptance or surrender or just not fighting it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I go back to that same song where you say, let sorrow, you just sit with it. You just sit with it. And I mean, you talk about, if you have sadness or you're okay with some ache or some, it can be ache of shame, say, it can be that horrible feeling inside. And And Pernilla told me the same thing. It's just, you just allow it to be there. And can I live in a body that feels this way? Can I accept that I have this feeling? And then I just have to sit there and hold it but it's not me. It's I'm holding a 3-year-old. I'm holding a 4-year-old. And it's much easier for me to hold the 4-year-old on my lap and say, I love you. I love you. I don't, I, there's, I love you. It's okay. It's okay. And Pernilla also told me at one point, she said, if you can stand and make the feeling really big for a minute, just let it be, just let it rage for a minute, then you can start to poke holes in it because it's just, this cloud. It's not real, but it takes some patience and some willingness because it's really the yuckiest feeling. I mean,
Mm.
I'd much rather have physical pain than feeling like I hate myself or I'm awful. Like I can deal with back pain or knee pain or something, but
Yeah, yeah.
that
So
gross feeling.
if we were to look at it in detail, right, we've got to drop the label pain or
Yeah.
ache or
Yeah.
whatever label we put on it, because that doesn't really do it justice.
No.
We've got
No.
to look at what is our experiencing when our focus is in this area.
Yeah, and where in the body and yeah.
Well, that's part of the details that we go looking for, yeah. But we can't help but not want it.
Yeah.
Yet somehow we want to not push it away. So we can talk about having a kind of resignation to it, yeah, which kind of gives us a victim flavor about the whole thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. That may be a way into something more healthy,
Yeah.
but it'd be nice if we could go straight to a willing
I was
acceptance
just going to
of
use
it.
that word. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Willingness, accept, and pay, like, okay, I can do this for a minute,
Yeah,
maybe a
well,
little,
that's a good technique. So there are a lot of
maybe,
techniques.
oh, wait, that was, maybe I can handle 30 more seconds.
Yeah,
Let me just sit in it for a bit.
but not
But not be
suffering,
feeling
not
right,
bearing it.
not feeling
Yeah,
sorry for myself and listening to the stories that are going. It's just
yeah.
feeling the intensity in my body, trying to separate the intensity of that ick here without labeling it, saying why and la 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 la. Because my brain wants to jump in there right away and say, well, this is why and this,
Mm,
explain it away somehow. It's
yeah,
tricky.
it is. And it would seem that a key skill that we would like to develop is the ability to hunt for ever finer details about what the experience consists of.
Yeah.
And all the while, the mind is going to be trying to make sense of it and give meaning to things and so on.
Yeah.
And we can't fight that either, but
No.
we cannot get carried away by it. We can kind of push it into the background a little bit.
Yeah, like you were talking about saying, oh, thoughts are happening, not
Yes.
uh, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's another key. There's another skill key that we can have if we recognize that the language that thoughts use create an identity.
Yeah.
An identification is happening. And as soon as we do that, if we look at it in more detail, we can see that a more accurate definition of what's going on is an objective thing. Thoughts are happening rather than I am having thoughts. I
Yes,
I
yes.
am having thoughts implies a lot of stuff that we can't
Yeah, and
True.
they're my thoughts, and so therefore they must be true because now I'm feeling this way. It's even stronger. But yeah, and that teeny little gap, if I can say, oh, there's a sensation, and then immediately I don't even hear the thought, but immediately I'll have a feeling. But if I can just take a breath between, like the other day, Jordan had called me and I didn't really want to talk to him, but I didn't want to not talk to him. So I called him back and he had a tone in his voice was like, "Mm." And of course it was all, I did it, something I did wrong, blah, 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 all that stuff. And I'm just, I was so happy 2 seconds before. But the tone in his voice, he hadn't even said anything. He just said hello. And I'm this.
Mm.
But I was able to go, wait a minute, the man hasn't even spoken yet. This is all made up. So that feeling was still there, and I let it just be there, but I recognized that it was nonsense. That feeling made no sense whatsoever. All the man said was hello. And he was actually quite pleasant. And we had, a nice conversation, came to an agreement. And that's when I said, I'm going to take the summer off. And he's like, yeah, great. I've got tons of stuff I'm doing. And we'll stay in touch, but we'll reconnect. And maybe we'll find a way to do this in the fall. But I don't want to push anymore. I'm tired of pushing.
Mm.
And I also don't want to drive all over the country with him, listening to him and not getting paid, and because he can't pay me. But it was such a fascinating thing to just the tone in his voice, and suddenly, my whole everything was, and but I caught it. The
Mm.
feeling didn't go away, but I was able to say, this feeling is not true, and these thoughts are not true. And I'm just going to have a conversation with this person, and I'm going to try to ignore all this other stuff that's going on. It can be there, but I'm going to try not attach to it.
Mm.
And, it shifted, but it took a lot, like it took hours in the day for that feeling to actually finally dissipate because it was just looking, I could feel my mind just looking for a hook to, because I've been so happy, which is so unusual for me. I'm so happy not working and not taking care of everybody. And,
Mm.
I get to do what I want to do every day. Like, this is so miraculous, but it was remarkable how all he said was hello, and, you know,
Mm.
everything was
Yeah,
shitting
that,
it.
that that can be a tricky one too. So that what you say is absolutely right in terms of us having a story pop up and then relate to the story
Yeah.
before. But at the same time, the other extreme, we are way more perceptive than we imagine we are, in that
Yeah.
we can pick up on cues that are in a tone of voice or in a look or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And yeah.
it's a tricky one because frequently it's not appropriate to chase it down.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, exactly. And he was, I mean, like after, he started talking and explaining, like he was afraid that I was going to have some sort of a reaction because he was
Right.
saying, that
Yeah.
didn't go well. I'm really busy. Maybe I don't have time. This was my friend. We were going to do this project together, Dom, and it didn't work out. We kind of got doors slammed in our faces, and the world isn't just, we want to talk about death, and the world didn't right here now. The people who run the institutions where we wanted to talk about that, they did not want it because we'd be rocking the boat. So we've just agreed to step back, take the summer off, and maybe we'll reconvene in the fall. But so he was afraid that I was going to be upset that he wanted to take a break. And I was kind of worried that he wanted to keep pushing, but neither one of us wanted to push. So we were both on the same page, but we're both
Work
having
it
these freaking out that, you're going to be mad at me. I'm going to be mad. Like, all it was just like,
Mm.
yeah, whole much ado about nothing is what that was.
Yeah.
But it was nice for me to, to feel that feeling even though I didn't hear the thought, but to feel that feeling and then go, wait a minute, there's no reason for this feeling to be happening, this emotion to be happening. Whatever's happening in the body, that's fine. I went like that and got scared and wanted to protect myself. Understandable, but I wasn't in danger. So it was fascinating just to see how quickly that happened.
Yeah, good to take a space and
Yeah.
let things
Ah,
oil themselves. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Amazing stuff. Brain, this, whatever all this is quick, makes can make move like lightning and make decisions about who and what is going on and what reality is in
Mm.
like before I've blinked. So pretty fascinating. Yeah. And I find that slowing down is really the only thing I can do often is just take a breath, slow down. Is this real? Is this really what's going on? Or is
Mm.
this happening? Just a story. Yeah. So Vince, you're in your house.
Mm.
I've never seen you in your house.
This is our downstairs studio, and my son and his wife have been living there while they work on their house, and now they've gone off to Romania to do a 1,200 kilometer walk.
Oh my.
Can't believe it. Yeah. So anyway, the place is we're looking after their cats.
Ah,
So I'm down here with two cats at the moment. Mm.
that's nice. Wow, 1,200-kilometer trek.
Mm. Yeah, they're gluttons for punishment. They've walked the Camino and they've walked a few other big ones as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanted to do the Camino, but with my knee and now these spinal compression fractures,
yeah,
I can't, I mean, even if I send somebody ahead with my, they'll let you like send your backpack ahead, right? But you still have to make the 20 miles a day in order to,
yeah,
and I mean, I know people who have done it and they've loved it, but yeah, not this time. I did
yeah.
10 miles the other day. I walked 10 miles the other day. Was pretty proud of that, but I didn't
Yeah,
have,
10 miles is pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, 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 not the Camino, not mountains. Mm.
So I'm interested, Don, what intention is there? Have you got an intention?
An intention in terms of sort of practice.
Yeah,
Or,
whatever, this stuff. Yeah.
um, do you mean like a goal or an intention in terms of an orientation?
Yeah. Well, what's there, whatever it is, yeah.
Um,
Is there something there?
I'm not sure if I exactly understand, but I mean, I think if I'm doing anything or if I'm sort of orientating in any way, it's to sort of observe, like, yeah, just to sort of see
Mm,
stories, see thoughts, see, I suppose I've been trying to notice the flavor of thoughts. And I was
good.
because we had a chat the other day, and there was that whole thing about we ended up talking just for reference for people that we ended up talking quite a lot about um, waking up, and then the sort of negative thoughts that come up, and the sort of call it the coat of sort of identity that you kind of put on in the first moments of the morning, where it's sort of like for me, often in those moments, it's there's a space where I'm just there and seeing things, or there is, seeing's happening or hearing or whatever. And then there's like, oh, I've got this thing to do today, or I don't want to do that, or I'm worried about that, or then, and then the more extreme ones are kind of, why haven't I done this or that? How I've, up to the point of like, I've wasted the last 20 years of my life and, this sort of stuff,
Yeah,
and
judge.
it's gradually this sort of like, and then I'm sort of walking down the stairs to have a coffee and I've got this, you know, heaviness already. Um, so yeah, I'm just sort of observing um, that process of identity forming, I guess you could call
Mm.
it.
Yeah, so
Um,
it's a good. I like that. And again, there's an invitation for to get into detail about how that might happen, right? So there, if you can just observe, but are you observing from a reference point? And when you observe, are there judgments taking place? Are there stories of meaning happening and so on. So it's really not possible to just observe.
No.
That would be a bit non-human of us to be able to simply be like a camera and notice what's going on without having a reaction to it. So we do have reactions all the time. But we can also then watch the reactions. So if we have a judgment, if we say, oh, that's good or not good, we can watch that happening. If a story of meaning turns up to weave itself around what we observe, we can watch that happening. We can be aware that it's turned up and happening. So there's just observing is quite a tricky thing.
Mm.
But it would seem to me that there is great value in recognizing that observing can happen without a you doing the observing. See, that you might deduce, so I use
Yeah.
the word carefully, that you might deduce that there has to be somebody doing the observing is a story, a fantasy.
Mm. Mm.
When you observe what is actually happening, there is observing and then there is reacting to what's being observed. And then there is reacting to the stories that come up around that. It doesn't end. It just goes
No.
on
No.
and on, yeah.
I
So
mean, a
that,
lot of my stories, they're variations on this sort of the idea of weakness.
yes,
Um, and so I was like this morning, I sat down and I was kind of like just noticing that the sort of tone of all these different things that my mind was coming up with that all had a kind of root in this sort of idea of weakness or trying not to be weak or
yeah,
reacting to that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then
I
I
like
was like,
that tone.
this
I
is
like
really another thought popped up and it was like, this is really self-indulgent.
that.
And I was like,
Yeah,
there's just another one. It sort of came at from another sort of
mm,
angle. You know.
yeah. Have you yet examined this concept of weak and strong and seen that they are just concepts? They are just an overlay description on something that really doesn't touch what is actual at all.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of see that the mind just its ability to sort of jump back into that old groove is pretty impressive because it sort of like
Mm.
I can sort of like go, oh yeah, well that's just a concept, but then it will immediately go, oh yeah, you're someone who's kind of stuck in these concepts, or you're someone who shouldn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, yeah. Oh, good.
whatever step you take, it sort
It's
of
so
seems
weak,
to,
that's all you can do.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it occurs to me to say to you that when you find yourself laughing at something that like that when it happens, that a shift has taken place. That's a
Yeah,
great indicator that you've switched perspectives on that one. Yeah. Not to say the old way won't come back again, but yeah, it's definitely a shift that's happened when you can laugh at it. Yeah.
doesn't feel as strong as it has in the past. You know what I mean? It feels lighter somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll be like the scab on a sore, you know, it will dry up and fall off over time simply because, you know, it's obviously a story, you know, other
Mhm.
people's opinion about you is other people's opinion. So for a start, how can you be strong or weak? You know, that's just a way of describing something from another person's perspective. Doesn't have any grip in actuality.
No, such a powerful idea. Well, for me,
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think I can explain psychologically why that I learned that or why,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really
You don't
get me
need
very
to, but
far.
yeah, you know about it
Yeah,
from that point of view, you know. I mean, let's say when your father says you're weak, right? It's not about being weak, it's about getting his approval.
yeah,
You know, so it's a sideways step frequently, you know, that
mm,
thing. So it's a way of saying I disapprove of you. You know, you're not how I see somebody should be
yeah,
or whatever. You know, yeah.
mm, yeah.
And isn't he actually talking about himself, the father?
Oh
I mean,
well,
if
yeah. I mean,
because
it may not be the father. I'm
no, I
just.
mean, but whatever. But I mean, if I call somebody something, like I live in a bubble, right? I live in my own bubble, and everything I see is just me and my perception of the world. So if I say to somebody, "You're stupid," I'm talking about I'm stupid because I don't know what the hell they're doing, right? How
Mm,
can I know?
mm.
I mean, it's a projection, but
Yeah, well, there is that kind of projection thing. I mean,
yeah.
you can say somebody is anything, and unless you've had that experience, how would you know what it is?
Exactly. Exactly. That
Mm,
exact experience at
mm,
that exact moment with that, yeah, everything has to be, yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
mm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
frequently,
I think
it's
I can see why my father, my young self would have been, and myself, would fear weakness.
mm,
The fact that there isn't such a thing in a way is, you know,
it's a bit irrelevant.
that it's a bit irrelevant at that level because
Mm,
it's that's the framework you've got. So, you know, there was a something happened to me. I had like a relationship with a friend, and we were in a business arrangement, and I felt like I'd been like really badly treated. And this is maybe over 10 years ago, and it was something that I just felt resentment for a long time. And I did a lot of forgiveness practice, and, whatever, all that sort of thing. But ultimately, it was because one of the things that was so painful was I was like, I was a fucking idiot to let that happen. You
mm.
know what I mean? It was like I
Yeah,
was weak
yeah,
to let that happen. And recently, I look back on that incident, it popped into my head, and that idea of me being weak in that situation wasn't really there in the same way. And it was like, oh, it's blissful,
yeah,
because it
yeah,
was just sort of like,
yeah.
it just melted the sort of resentment.
Yep, yep, yep. And what a classic example of getting triggered. You know, like some circumstance will trigger this old wound that we've got, and all of a sudden it flares up. Yeah,
Yeah, and if you think you've got justification for it, then you've got a lot of other sort of the structure's got more sort of reinforcement.
yeah. Well, we look for things to reinforce it for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's quite profound that sort of realizing that the depth of that story or the sort of how much it's sort of formed other stories. You know.
Mm.
I'd never really thought about it until, not in that way, until, this year, really. In that, I mean, obviously, because of being in recovery and all that, you do a lot of work around resentments, and you look at, the way I've done it, you look at the demands that you're placing on a situation, how they're sort of generating your disturbance in a way, rather than the situation itself.
Mm. Yeah, it
But
still very much comes from
you don't necessarily, yeah, you don't necessarily. It's quite a blunt instrument in the way that you're
mm,
looking at it, because you're not necessarily uncovering the stories at the level that you might do in this kind of process.
yeah, yeah. Well, I want us to get to a depth or a level where we recognize that connection to the mythical I, and once that breaks, a whole lot of stuff just falls off. It's required. It's a fundamental requirement, a foundation that is necessary for all of these illusions to exist. And once that
Mhm.
happens, it's pretty easy to kind of drop a whole lot of those stories. Yeah. But even after those stories can still get triggered, so we can, it's like, whoa, that's, yeah, I forgot that pothole was there in the middle of the road and I drove over it, boom. Yeah. Mm. Good stuff. Yeah. How have you been, Pam? You're muted.
Or- Yeah, thank you. Yeah, really nice. Since we talked several days ago, it's really been such a funny experience, and just realizing like what I've been through in the last several weeks with my granddaughter, and I knew something had happened, but I couldn't tell what, and um, and it seems like then I started getting a little concerned that how you were in my head, because every time you sent a story or a song, it's like, how did he know that's what I was going through?
He
I was,
didn't. He
I had
didn't.
just, I had
No.
just had, I had just had that experience yesterday morning where I was sitting on my patio really early before people were up, and a neighbor seemed to just walk down the stairs and could catch a glimpse of me before I even knew they were there. And she just really softly said hello. And then, if the whole thing sort of played out. And I thought, well, isn't that all really interesting? And then within minutes, I came in and listened to this song you sent me about, and the story about how that actually happens. And then that was really, really opening to see that. But then, and the music is absolutely blows me away. I've listened to that entire playlist, and it's like, how did I not know there was a whole genre about what I'm experiencing and feeling that I never, it's kind of like, seriously? How did I know that whole section of the world existed? And I mean, how could I not know that? Anyway, so that's been really, really, it's been like for days now, just really a nice unfolding. But I did, and I woke up this morning. Actually, I guess you could say it happened. It's kind of like, oh, I could just see that's how simple it is. It's just this, and it's just happening. There's no one doing it. And it's like, huh. And it was really very nice, very simple, very plain, and kind of like, oh, and I just didn't move for a very long time. And then I noticed that little story would sort of come up about it. And then I thought, oh, that's the mind actually trying to make a story out of this. So that was kind of funny. And that went on for, I don't know, however many minutes. And then I decided, okay, I saw the mind doing it again, sort of making a story out of it. And then I thought, I'm just going to get up. By this time now, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, I think. And when I got up and saw that I'd gotten some more emails from you, I'd be dadgum if it was a story about exactly that. The story and then the song. And it's kind of like, huh, that this is, yeah, this is, so it's kind of like, hasn't it been there the whole time? And I just never noticed it or didn't look at it. It's like, and people have tried pointing at it. I mean, a lot of things have, but it's kind of like, oh, it's just that simple. Yeah. So now I understand everything that everybody said about how it's right there happening all the time, but it's so simple, we just overlook it.
Great.
And
Good.
so it was perfect for me. And then I've noticed how flippin' tired I am for days now since this whole thing started. It's kind of like, it's almost like I'm taking a sleep inducing drug or something because all I want to do is sit and look at everything and see, because, realizing that there's like a million gazillion things happening at every single second. And it's like, uh, noticing everything, but, then also noticing how all of a sudden a little thought or a story will come up. And then, yes, you do see it and you laugh about it. But then just hearing something that you said about or listening to people talk, I guess it does kind of come and go. Right now, it's just, and I don't call it I don't know, I don't call it anything really. I don't even know what it was that I would say happened. It's just, I just kind of saw, um, yeah. And so I'm just happy to be able to come here and actually say this to some other living human beings that won't question me like, what are you talking about?
Oh,
So
you,
thank you guys.
I'm just bursting with appreciation and wonder for what you that was great. Thank you. That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been really good as well. And this is really interesting because I've watched a lot of these meetings before, before the um, I just never had really made the time to link up and get in one. So I'm familiar with some of the people that are here, although they've never seen me before. But like Kate, I remember her talking one time. It's been a while back, one of the meetings I watched, and she was going on and on about the music. And I thought, how can it be? What is she talking about? How can it be that good or whatever? But I want you to know, when I was listening to that playlist, I was like, my jaw drops to the floor because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't even know um, why or what it's about. It's just that um, it's just very freeing knowing that there are, you know, who makes that music? Are these actually? I mean, it's kind of like, are these actually? Then I'm starting to think, you mean this has been here the whole time, and there, it's just it's just beyond words. I can't say, but now I understand about the music, and I'm like, I mean, I've always loved music, but I just never realized that I could connect to practically every song on your playlist.
Yeah.
Um, so far, I haven't found one that I haven't, but I haven't completed the entire playlist yet. So yeah, and
Well,
then every time,
you're going
even
to
the
be working.
stories,
I just
huh?
posted today. I just posted number 174 up there today. So there's a lot
Uh,
there.
yeah, and the I think on the last meeting, when I did speak, I brought up something about you know, holding a presence, and I feel like then it opened up a can of worms because several people got into a discussion about it. I really didn't even know what the hell I meant when I was saying it, other than it just felt to me like, I mean, I'd been through quite a bit in the last several weeks with my granddaughter, and so I knew that it was a very um, you could call it traumatic, whatever. But it was something that I knew really caused a shift or something happened. Um, didn't know what. Certainly wasn't thinking anything about like I didn't know. But then we talked, and um, well, first off, for the first 24 hours after that, reading just the review of what you had heard me say, and it's like just feeling heard and feeling seen for the first time, and feeling, which is the one thing that I had done for my granddaughter. And so then I could see also, like Kate was just mentioning a minute ago, about the projection and how, is it me or is it, yeah. So I knew there was something there, but then reading and listening to the story, the review that you that was sent to me, and then the song, it's like for 24 hours I really couldn't speak intelligently to anyone. But and then it's gradually grown to the point now where, and then on the first meeting I joined, I was extremely self-conscious and also extremely aware of how tense and contracted uh, almost every part of my body was and has been for ever. So, and then having a tremendous amount of compassion for the body, it's kind of like, oh my goodness, well, no wonder it's so tired right now. But then also understanding and accepting so many new things and just being open. So like that's one of the songs, Leaves the Door Open. It's like, but practically every song I listen to, I actually literally bawl my eyes out for 20 minutes or so. I mean, it's just that groundbreaking for me. And um, yeah, so when I finally did go back to bed this morning, I guess it was probably around 5:30 or so this morning where I am. And then I thought, well, I'm going to try to make the meeting, that starts in a couple of hours. So, and then I just went, you know what? I'm going to go to sleep because the body's tired. And then what happens, happens. So here I am. And I'm very glad to be here. So
Oh, well, I got to thank you so much for the feeling I've got now. That's great. Thank you.
you're
Mm.
welcome. Yeah, it's pretty nice and ordinary and simple, but nice. Yeah.
Well, I think I might go to bed. It's getting fairly late here. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So
What time is it there, Vince?
it's 11:10.
Oh yeah, go to bed.
Mm.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll download today's song and listen to it.
Yeah.
I do. I put them, I have the never ending playlist. It's just every day. There
Yeah.
goes story, listen to the song. Yeah.
It's quite
It's I
exciting
just,
days.
yeah. I was just thinking like last night, because I have I have the deck and the apartment in this building, and everybody wants to come and hang out on my deck. So I had some neighbors over last night, and I just had snacks, and I told them to bring their own poison, whatever they drink, um, and it was lovely. They're all very sweet people, but there's never a silence like we just had, you know, where I feel completely loved, completely safe, held, just just wrapped, just like
Yeah.
somebody's loving arms are around me. And I don't know any of you, and yet I know you all, and I love you so much. And Vince, you're my mom, so you know how I feel about you. Um, and it's such a gift to have this.
Mm.
It took a long time for me to find it, but now it's here. It's in every one of your songs, and I take it with me every day, and I feel so blessed, so deeply grateful. Just,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.